All right, everyone. Donald Trump is supposedly unpresidential for saying, Maduro doesn't want to fuck around with the United States. That's his quote, not mine. Yes, he dropped the F-bomb. Ooh, nobody's ever heard that word before. Liberal commentators outraged. Funny because when Obama said things like asshole or shit, or he talked about smoking weed, you were never so moralistic about that. Donald Trump is clearly held to a different standard. Personally, I don't give a shit. I swear like a drunken sailor. I look like one too. You might notice I'm flying the black flag today instead of the pirate flag. I just wanted to put that one up. Yeah, change of decor. It's par for the course for this channel. But he's fundamentally right. The thing is, Maduro does not have the ability to guard the narco ships that he's quite clearly allowing to launch. This is not the same as narco trafficking from most other parts of the world. If a narco ship is coming in from Colombia, tendency is it's not launching with the permission of the government. They're slipping in sort of under the radar in order to sell a boatload, literally, of cocaine or something like that. But it's not done with the express consent and even encouragement of the Colombian government. The same is true with other nearby nations in which a lot of narco trafficking happens. To an extent, Mexico, certainly to an extent, Jamaica, and some of these other countries in the region because the United States loves its drugs. Believe it or not, people enjoy them. That's why they buy them. And your kids are always told drugs are bad. What you should be telling the kids is no, drugs are too good. You're going to get fucking addicted to it, and then you're just going to be normalizing. Don't get into that fucking pattern of slavery. A little bit more effective than the dare messaging, I think, but that's just me. But I mean, it's true. What's Maduro going to do? Is he going to, in international waters, you want to go toe to toe with the U.S. Air Force or the U.S. Navy? Me no think so. I think that's probably a bad idea because then there will be additional casualties because I don't think that Trump on this particular issue is fucking around on the border and on narco trading and things generally related to that, Trump is an absolute hardliner. On many issues, he's been much more measured. Tax relief. I mean, I really, really like the tax relief that's been given. Don't get me wrong, but it's not exactly Ron Paul economics. On crime, Donald Trump is cracking down on a handful of particularly blighted cities to try to get things in control. But unlike what the pink pussy hat wearers will say, he's actually not a fascist, so don't worry. He's not actually going to deploy millions of troops to your street corners. Be impossible anyway, for reasons that have been discussed mainly by the right wing, which is odd because now the left wing are holding US flags and encouraging each other to carry guns at all times and stuff like that. Man, oh man, are we on one weird goddamn timeline. Anyway, Maduro can't do anything about US strikes on his narco ships. And therein does lie the difference. Other regimes, narco ship is not funded by the government. In Venezuela, Maduro's own party, his own central apparatus, is literally loading the fucking ships and giving them effectively a letter of marque in order to traffic into the United States. Not just the US, but elsewhere as well. Other countries have the same problem. It's just that the United States is more wealthy and it's a bigger importer of narcotic substances. But with Venezuela, he knows it's going on. He loves that it's going on. He doesn't give a shit. So he just says, yeah, yeah, you can use the ports. I don't know how much cocaine you got on there. I'm gonna need a couple bricks of that, by the way, dude. Then you can set sail. I'm gonna need a couple. That looks like some good shit. That's basically the way Maduro rolls. And the opposition there is begging for help with trying to do anything that it can to unseat Maduro. Now, that brings us to an interesting and very, very salient point. I would never support attempting to do regime change in Venezuela. That's a bad idea. Not because Venezuela's military can hold a candle to the US military, not because of the violent guerrilla militias there, because I have a feeling that part of the population would probably rise up against them immediately if we did intervene, but because it's just wrong. It's not going to help anyone. The amount of nation building you'd have to do would be monumental. Venezuela's economy is fundamentally fucked in the ass. And when Machado, currently in exile, says, basically we could use some help. Nobel Peace Prize winner, dedicated it to Trump, by the way. I have a feeling that that's to try to encourage something to get going. I prefer a diplomatic solution. Or I prefer, in general, the people of Venezuela just saying enough is enough and saying this isn't working and just, yeah, you can Gaddafi Maduro, I suppose, or something like that. It won't stabilize your country, though. It's been tried before. If anything, things might get worse, so I would never recommend that. But if the Venezuelan government is attempting to send ships full of drugs, mainly fentanyl and cocaine, into the United States, I don't give a shit if they get targeted by rockets. I literally don't care. It's a narco ship. It is effectively a state-run vessel because the state did not take any actions to prevent it from sailing, allows it to use normal ports, probably supplied half the drugs there anyway because they're so desperate for cash. This is not the same as normal narco trafficking. It's apples to oranges. Still a fruit, but it's a different fruit. Yeah, you're still peddling drugs, but this time the government's the one helping you do so. That is different. It is effectively, on paper, technically speaking, it is an act of war. With Venezuela, if a ship, a trawler or something like that, launches from Venezuelan territorial waters, and it is headed quite clearly towards the United States, there are only fundamentally two reasons why that's happening. Trafficking, now whether it's to bring illegal immigrants in or more trafficking slaves, more likely, or drugs. Those are basically the only two reasons. Now, there will be civilian casualties because unfortunately, again, these you put don't put it past Maduro. I wouldn't be surprised if the Venezuelan regime that is clearly equipping these ships, I wouldn't be surprised if they started using human shields. Well, you can't hit us. We got a couple of 12-year-olds aboard. And if we're allowed to land, we're going to sell them into slavery, but, it's going to look bad for you if you blow this ship up. I wouldn't be surprised if the Maduro regime tried something like this. I mean, they are commies, so they don't really have a regard for human life, including their own. Good movie, by the way. So Trump is telling him quite clearly, he's not mincing words. He's like, Maduro doesn't want to fuck around with us. Please, just leave us alone. We don't have to bomb your ships if they're not coming towards our country. But the problem is solved. Oh, you didn't get your drug money? Well, too bad. We've got our own drugs, and they're better quality anyway. That's about all. Peace out.